Okay, much awaited video. So I quit my very first nursing job and I feel no ways about it. Hello, stranger. It's been a minute. Yeah, dear YouTube, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Melissa Marie. I am a registered nurse, specifically in the Nicu. For those of you who are returning, I'm sorry this video is taking so long, but we're here now. This is basically going to be like a 1-year update video of being a nurse because I've been a nurse for a year. I became a nurse September of 2022, so it's been just over a year. I started off in the NICU right away because I knew that's where I wanted to be, so I moved in everything to be in the NICU because it's very hard to get a job in the NICU straight out of college. They tend to like you to have a little bit of experience because it's just tough, and that's the same for like a lot of ICU jobs, not just NICU. I thought ICU, the same for ED sometimes as well, but anything that's like critical care, it can be tough. But I was determined and we made it happen. So I'm just gonna hit on some hot topics. Let's start off with new grad depression. So new grad depression is so real, especially in this time post-COVID, and I want to touch on it because I feel like there's always so much pressure when you're first starting off to be perfect and to not look like an idiot, especially if you're in like a tough specialty such as an ICU. It's so much pressure. People on the unit, if they're not supportive, will make you feel like you are genuinely slow. And that was a part of my problem with new grad depression. It's like sometimes it gets so bad where it's like you're literally sitting in your car or you're outside pacing, having to calm yourself down, take deep breaths, having to talk yourself into going into your shift. And it should never be like that. I genuinely love my population when I'm with my babies, when I'm feeding, when I'm with a parent teaching or educating about anything. I am happy. I'm genuinely in bliss. But it's the moments leading up to that. It's the moments in between. It's the lunch. Like I didn't take no lunch breaks because I didn't want to be around nobody. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to have to be fake because if I don't like you, I'm gonna tell you that immediately. So it was just a lot of that with the depression part of it all. And I know I needed a change. My unit was. There were some good people in my unit. My entire unit was not bad, but there were a lot of other people who were not very supportive, who were definitely bullies, and who definitely applied pressures in ways that were not okay. And I'm trying to tread lightly with how I'm speaking, but it's sad and unfortunate that the bad people outweigh the good. My unit was definitely very cliquey. There was a lot of people who've been there for like 10 plus years, so they get preferential treatment when it came to assignments, when it came to things like that. Just real ghetto, in my opinion, because we're all here working together. We're supposed to be a unit, but y'all acting crazy. But yeah, my unit had a lot of that. I wasn't here for it. I made complaints and they were never heard. They fell on deaf ears. I felt like a lot of people in management were super supportive of me with my personal situation, with my health issues and all that kind of stuff. However, because I work primarily night shift, I genuinely never see them. I talk to them on the phone, or I've had like a video chat every now and then. It's night shift, so we don't ever see management. The nurse bullying part, like, I'm not somebody who gets bullied. You know what I mean? I don't really have those issues in general, but with nursing, it's tough because, especially in a predominantly white unit, I feel like I have to work extra hard to not come off as this aggressive, crazy black girl. So whenever somebody says something to me that's inappropriate, my first response is to knock them in the face, but I really have to sit there and consider, like, okay, how is this gonna look? Is this professional for this moment? Though they're not being professional, I have to double, triple, and quadruple think about these things before I act. And that's stressful because it's okay when you do it, but it's not okay when I do it. Okay, got it. So that was one. Also, just in terms of the connection with the people, I feel like a lot of my connections were very superficial with the people in my unit. There's not anybody I would call a friend. Maybe like 3 people. But nobody I share a lot of personal things in my life with because they can be trusted. You say one thing to somebody and somebody in a whole different section of the hospital knows it. Why is that? Or you say one thing, or you do one thing, and suddenly management has a report or a complaint. Why is that? And when I tell y'all I have some petty senior nurses, like, let me give you an example of something that I experienced where it's like, you have no reason to say that. You're a bully and I will fight you in the parking lot. But anyway, y'all who work on night shift know, for whatever reason, the hospital is just extremely cold on night shift. Like, day shift just have that little bit of heat. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the extra people. But night shift be cool on night shift. So, especially during the wintertime, you know, we're up northish. In the wintertime, I have on my jacket. Not just me, by the way. Everybody got on a jacket because it's cold. I got on my sweater, I got on a jacket as I'm waiting in between cares, because I take it off when I'm going into a patient room just out of infection control, safety, whatever. But I put on my little jacket while I'm waiting. While this one nurse found herself telling me it's not appropriate to wear a jacket. Mind you, the nurses surrounding me all have jackets on as well. And she's friends with them, so she's not saying anything to them. But she's specifically telling me, I need to take it off. It's not appropriate. And I'm like, girl, what? Like, it is literally 3 degrees. Get out my face. Took off the jacket anyway because she's my superior and, you know, trying to be respectful. But then I'm sitting here thinking, like, you really just went out of your way to come tell me this for what reason? Just because you want to have control and power? Like, no. So then the next time I was freezing, I put on a jacket. She seen me put the jacket on. She was with a different partner who was in charge with her and resource with her. So she couldn't act the way that she be acting because she was no longer the top dog for that night. It was somebody else who was above her, and the person who was above her likes me. So it's like, okay, mind you, I want to reiterate, I have never gone into a patient's room with a jacket on, not as much as a sweater. Literally, even if I have on long sleeve undershirt, I'll roll up my sleeve them because that's how you're supposed to do it. Infection prevention, infection control, bare below the elbow. Literally, I'm just freezing. I'm walking around the unit to try and warm up. Nothing's helping. And I can't stay off the unit because if something goes wrong with my patient or my coworkers' patients, I need to be present in case they need my help. Like, just petty. But yeah, so I put in my notice and I actually was very generous with it because I'm usually somebody, once I'm ready to go, you got basically a day. But I gave them 6 or 7 weeks notice, almost 2 months, but less than 2 months. Yeah, very generous. Nurse residency, let's talk about it. Genuine waste of time. People ask me all the time, oh, I love this job, but they don't have a nurse residency program. Should I take it? Yes, you should. Because the fact that there's even something called a nurse residency is laughable because you don't do anything in it that's worthwhile. You get these little crazy little group work assignments. Child, I don't want to talk to nobody, no way. Why am I being forced to put this group assignment with people who are not in my specialty, who don't understand anything that I'm doing? Like, it's really a waste of time. The concept of it could be good, could be great, but it's not doing what they think it's doing. And it gives, especially during that first year of nursing where you're learning your skills, you're honing in, your foundation is being built, you're exhausted, you're picking up extra shifts for the first time, you're trying to time manage and juggle everything in your life. You don't have time for no extra class of foolishness, you know? And y'all let me know if y'all feel differently about your nurse residency, because if it has benefited you, if you've learned skills and stuff in it, then that's wonderful. Definitely comment down below if that's your experience, not my experience. My unit orientation, very helpful. My unit classes, love them. You know, talking to the RTs and all that kind of stuff, very helpful. But the hospital system-wide residency, useless. Very much useless. Also, I guess this is a part of the nurse depression as well. People always say like, oh my God, your first year is gonna fly by. Try to like cherish it. And I had nothing to cherish, child. It dragged. This year did not fly by. I feel like every day was a drag. And maybe that's because I was experiencing new grad depression. I was just like, these days don't end. I don't want this to come off as all negative. I just had a lot to vent off the dome. But I'm very excited that I've reached my 1 year as a nurse. I've worked so hard. You guys have been with me through my journey for the most part. If you're new, you can go back and look at some videos. You know, it was a time, guys. Going through nursing school and starting career through COVID was like very different. But, you know, we made it. We've been thriving. I'm in a new hospital now. I'm very happy with where I am now. We've moved states. yeah, it's a good change for me. I don't want to come off as completely negative. I just want to like reiterate, I love being a nurse for the most part. It's definitely ghetto. Bedside is never going to be the same. Since COVID, like bedside's just never going to be how it used to be. And we just got to adapt to our new normal. It's definitely going to perpetually be short-staffed. My unit was perpetually short-staffed. We would have unsafe assignment at times. 3 babies to one nurse can be okay if they're all fetal growers, but sometimes you have babies where this child needs to be a 1-to-1. Why are we in a 3? Like, no. And at the end of the day, I gotta protect my license and I gotta protect my sanity, because y'all not gonna have me out here feeling crazy as a new grad where I already feel crazy by myself. I don't need your help. Like, another part of changing your hospital that I don't think people consider is there's a lot of policies that are specific to hospitals that are not nursing related. So for example, your hospital might be real nitpicky about the way in which you do your cares, or the way in which just the way in which you practice. And that's the prerogative of the hospital. But once you travel or you experience a different hospital, you realize, okay, that was just real petty of my unit. My unit just was petty betties. You know what I mean? So like, just to give you an example, like my previous hospital was very much a stickler about, oh, you have cares every 3 hours, depending on the kid. But if you have a kid you recognize is pretty sickly and you feel like they do better on low stimulation, then as a nurse, I'm not going to disrupt that kid unless I have to. So if I know that they have caffeine coming up, or they have like a morphine or Dilaudid or something that's scheduled that's coming up, then I'm going to wait to cluster my cares and put it all together for the benefit of that kid. My hospital, there'd be people who were very petty about it at my last hospital, but like going to my new hospital, they are very much so like patient guided care, where if the baby requires not to be touched, don't touch them. And I love that for my patients. And I just think that is so important with like autonomy in my practice, because I want to do things based on how I feel like it's best for my kids, not based on what the policies say. Like, people following the policies, like they're not even thinking about nursing or the patient anymore. It's just they want to write somebody up based on these policies. But then you go to a new hospital and it's like, oh, that doesn't exist here? Great. Also, I felt like my unit ran almost like a babysitter's club sometimes. My new unit operates more like an ICU, which is chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. Another thing with the nurse bullying as well, as I'm thinking about it, there was also a lot of, I did say there was a lot of favoritism, but the favoritism really ran deep when it came to like picking assignments. And that was a problem for me. And not so much that I got a crappy assignment, but in my first year, I really want my foundation to be extremely strong. And I would always tell people, like, put me on assignments that are difficult. Put me on something tough so I can learn. Put me on, and I've never done a trach tie. Put me on a kid with a trach. Put me on a kid with multiple drips. Like, I haven't had drips in a long time. Give me, like, I would beg for stuff. And depending on who was in charge, I would get it. Because, like I said, the management side of it all, I didn't have too many problems with them. It was just one charge nurse who could kiss my behind. And you know who you are if you're watching. But the rest of them, very much helpful, very much interested in a lot, letting new grads learn. And let me just say, off rip, you're not allowed to pick your assignment, no matter who you are, no matter how many 45, 50 years you've been there. You're not allowed to pick your assignment. You get what you get based on staffing, and usually they try to place you by experience. But when I tell you there's people who started after me who were getting some assignments that I wanted, like, how come you get to have the kid who's about to go to surgery, or this ostomy crazy situation? Like, I want that. I want to learn, but I'm sitting here basically being like basically going backwards. Like, I'm not going forward, which is a problem for me, because trying to grow and be an expert in my field eventually. Like, it's only been a year, but after 5-10 years, I want to be able to say, yeah, I know a lot. Maybe I don't know everything, but I know a lot. Can't say that. You just really gotta trust your intuition more while. Maybe 2 weeks after, actually, 2 weeks after I left the hospital, my old boss reached out to me to have a meeting and actually Turns out that somebody or somebody's, multiple people, have been speaking about me negatively on the unit and saying that, oh, Melissa has social media, Melissa's doing things inappropriately, she's putting patients at risk. And the fact that people had the nerve to really go ahead and try and report me in that way is so crazy to me, because you know, people will smile on your face, meanwhile they're plotting for your demise. And I do understand that having a social media is very muddy waters when it comes to healthcare, but let me assure you, that just showed me a lot, because to be frank, I was kind of feeling a little bad, like, okay, this hospital poured so much into me, they took a chance on me and I'm kind of abandoning them, I'm kind of jumping ship. I felt a little bad, but thank God for the persons complaining about me, because F all y'all, all y'all, every single last one of y'all, because like that, when I tell you it hurt my feelings. Above all, I'm being like acting all tough now, but like I almost wanted to cry. Like it really hurt my feelings, because where I was like, I thought, you know, I had at least a professional connection with some people. If somebody had a concern, nobody felt like they could have came and talked to me about it. Like I would never put a patient at risk. I've never taken my phone into patient areas. I've also, so not only are you watching on my social media, you guys are compiling ways and information to try and bring me down. That is a weird, and I am very happy to not be in an environment like that. But yeah, I was just saying, you know, I spoke to my superior beforehand anyway. I wouldn't just jump in and record, but I never recorded in a patient area, never patient information. I always was in like the lounge, whatever the case is, like downstairs in the where the food is. Never in a patient's room. Even when there's been parents who are like, oh, take a picture with my baby, you know, take a picture of my baby, you took such good care of them. I'm like, nah, bro, I can't do that. I want to, trust me, I want a picture of my little boo-boo, but I can't. Meanwhile, these other nurses on my unit used to do that regularly. Take pictures with the parents there, with the parents not there, on FaceTime, on live, all kinds of foolishness. But never I. But yeah, I'm the one who got complained about. Yo, I'm bitter. A little bit. But yeah, so again, a lot of venting, guys. Is a little bit all over the place. I also did start school. So I started school in September of this year. It's a DNP program for neonatal. So I will be an NNP. The program is long, so it's going to take me 4 years, which is perfect because I want to have a minimum of 5 years of nursing before venturing into that next step of practice. Do I still love the Nicu? Yes, for the most part, but there is parts of me who is considering very heavily to venture into pediatric ED. I do love the flow of the ED. It's so different. I worked in ED for 6 months, for those who don't know. But with adults. I think that I would really thrive and enjoy a pediatric setting, sort of. But yes, guys, that is my 1 year update as a nurse. I'm very excited. It's been a long time coming, and I can't wait to see what year 2 brings me. I definitely can remember how I felt from a mental standpoint my first several days nursing, and I definitely feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more in charge of what I'm doing. I have no issues talking to providers. I never did, because when a patient's life is on the line, honey, you're gonna hear me. Even if I sound crazy, you're gonna hear me. Even if I don't know what I'm talking about, you're gonna hear me, and then you'll educate me. Which a lot of my providers used to do. I would say things, they'd be like, girl, that don't make no sense. This is what you mean, and then it would be better. So yeah, definitely it's been a year, child, but we made it. And if you guys have any questions specifically about my first year as a nurse, please comment them down below. Otherwise, to all my nurses who are a year and under or about to begin their journey, I just want to say, you know yourself more than anybody else. You know your integrity, you know your quality of work. Do not let anybody try and tell you who you are. Your mama, your papa, your grandfather, whoever raised you, and you know who you are. Stick to yourself and don't stoop to anybody's level. And if a facility is not serving you, do not feel a way about leaving. And I mean that wholeheartedly. And I know my older nurses are going to be upset to hear that, but y'all spend 10 years, 20 years being miserable, don't mean we have to do it. This generation is not doing that. There's way too many hospitals who need nurses, who need quality people. You just gotta do what's best for you and your family and your situation, and don't feel bad about it. Genuinely, don't feel bad. Also, hopefully this is a start to me getting back into my YouTube. Part of the reason why I took such a long hiatus is because of this new grad depression and moving and my health and everything that was going on. I was just like, this is too much. This too much. I need time. But now that the dust is settling a little bit, you know, I can get back into the swing of things just a little bit. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or video suggestions, definitely comment them down below. Otherwise you're just gonna get whatever. I do have a vlog to post after this, which is going to be like my last month in Maryland and with that hospital and stuff like that. Possibly. I don't know how much footage I actually got, but yeah. Yeah, guys, so I will see you at my next update, which will be probably about school or about my new hospital. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with somebody who would love it. Make sure you comment down below what videos you would like me to record, what information you want to know, and I will try my best to accommodate. This is November 1st. Happy Dia de los Muertos for anybody who celebrates. But alright guys, see you in the next video. Look more. Put your sweats on for me. I got the plug, I made the call for me.